And you've got handouts for most of these things, I think. You? Okay. As I said, it's like keeping a written journal, but it's just online. And the thing is, when you're keeping a blog, like when I'm traveling, besides writing in my journal, every couple of days I don't take a laptop with me, but every couple of days I'll go to a web cafe and I'll write up everything that I've been doing, so it's fresh. It's all fresh. Doesn't matter when you're writing a blog like that. Doesn't matter whether you've got everything correct, like grammatically correct. It's more just casual, like you're talking, right? So you can always, fix it up later, or as I had said, you can take bits of it out and make it into a proper story later. But the nice thing about keeping a blog is that it can be on the spot stuff, so everything is fresh, and what you've observed or what's happened to you that day, and little insignificant things that might be important for your story later on. And you'll remember how the air smelled when you stepped off the plane in places like Hawaii where you smell the flowers, or how that food tasted that you were eating, and the sounds of things and the colors in the market you went to in Mexico. That kind of thing you can remember right off the bat if you put it into your blog. And it's also fun because then you can add pictures to it, and then you can send the link to the blogs home to all your friends, and they can share your travels with you. So that's one nice thing about the blogs, is keeping the blogs going like that. And there's some very good travel blogs up online that you can find. There's one here that I haven't listed that you might want to write down, some of you older ladies, some of you ladies. A friend of mine who I met through her submitting a story to my Travel Through History. She's a retired attorney, originally from Germany. When I met up with her, she was living in Turkey, and she's now living in Spain. And she has a really interesting blog called Glamour Granny Travels. And she writes quite a bit, and she publishes quite a bit too now. But it's kind of an interesting blog. She is a glamour granny. And when I met up with her in Samos, and first I met up with her in Naxos, and I was going to be camping for a week, and she wasn't supposed to come until after that, and we were going to get a pension. But she got there early, and I was still camping. I had just got there. She said, "Oh, well, okay, I'll camp, but don't tell anybody." So she rented the tent and everything. But she was such a good sport about it, but it was something that she would have never dreamed ever doing in her entire life. Camping, of all things, because she's used to everything a little bit more luxury. But traveling with me is not luxury. So that was really fun. She was such a good sport. And I've kept in touch with her all this time, hoping to be able to go and see her in Spain in September. But that's a nice, cute blog if any of you ladies are interested in looking at that one. Now, how I take stories from my blog, there's just a small sample here of it. I wrote a blog about, I don't have the actual blog, I guess. I wrote a blog about visiting the Diros caves in the Mani district of the Peloponnese in Greece. And actually, oh yeah, here, I'll pass it around. The first one is the blog. I don't have the photos on this thing. But you see, the blog didn't have very much on it. In between would be all the photos. But just out of the beginnings of that blog, I expanded it, went and did some more research, added some more things to it, and ended up getting a story that was published. This one was published in Europe Up Close, but I also published part of it in another story, written from a combination of a couple of other blogs in the Senior Living magazine. And that all started with just a blog, of my blogs about visiting the Manny. So I'll pass this around, you can take a look, see how this works. And there is some people have very elaborate blogs, and they actually have a lot of ads on them, and they're what you call monetized blogs because they actually get paid a lot of money. Or there are some blogs that you can contribute stuff to and they pay you money. So there's various types of blogs these days. Blogging has become a very, very popular thing online. So there's a lot of possibilities with that. Now the other one is the travel memoirs. And the memoirs, you get those from the stories that you have to tell about trips you've taken. You get them out of the diaries that you've kept about trips you've taken. And it usually is a very significant type of journey that you've made. And especially if you decide you're going to write it as a book. And I have a couple of examples here I'll show you. Oh yeah, before I go on to that, I forgot. This is a book that's a collection of emails from India. This writer in Vancouver, Janice Harper, I think she might be in Goa right now. She went there, she got some award for this book, I think. She got this idea to collect emails from women that were traveling in India. And out of all the emails that she got, she put them in this book, which is a very interesting concept to do. Because, you know, also, even if you're not keeping a blog, quite often when you're traveling, you're sending emails home, and those emails will have a lot of information on the spot that you want to keep. So this is what she's done with this. I'll pass this one around so you can take a look. So get the idea of getting travel stories from emails. But the memoir thing is, if you have some ideas you want to write just as a story, it's only going to be, as a travel story memoir, you're probably looking, in my online magazine, I will take up to 1,500 words. Most of them online will take 700 to 1,000. But if you're going to write a short piece like that, you have to sort of organize what it is that you're going to write about. And so you've got a focus and you've got a theme to it. And if you're going to write it as a travel book, then you definitely have to have a theme to it. And this one here is just a collection of different stories. These friends of mine, in fact, right now I think they're in Kuala Lumpur. They're constantly on the road. Rick and Irene Butler. I first met Irene when she came to a travel writing class I was teaching at Kitsilano quite a few years ago. And she publishes a lot of stuff now. And she and her husband, when they retired, they just hit the road for about 6 months at a time. And they go, now they've been, I think they started out in Greece, and then they went to Cyprus, and then they went to India. And I had an email from them today, they're in Kuala Lumpur. So this book was covering 12 countries in 12 months. And trekking the globe with mostly gentle footsteps. And so, just to give you an idea of how she starts out with her story, in the beginning, this is like the prologue she starts with, and it really hooks you. I can barely breathe with the exhilaration of it all. Rick and I bounce along atop a camel named Moses, our eyes transfixed by the great pyramids of Giza. Our turbaned guide ambles alongside and occasionally tugs at Moses' reins to change directions. An hour of circumnavigating these wondrous monuments passes quickly as a desert breeze. In the distance, we see the patch of camel wranglers that had been our starting point and where our ride was to end, but we're veering away. "Where are you taking us?" I call down. No response. My heart takes a small tumble, the feeling like when a fire truck, the sirens blaring, races ahead of you down your street. "Hey, you're going in the wrong direction," I yell. He says nothing. He leads the camel to the peak of a steep sand dune, then stops so we can appreciate the drop on the other side. "Backsheesh," he says, his grin exposing brown stumps for teeth. "No, we already paid you." "Backsheesh," he repeats. "No way," Rick pipes up. Our antsy camel shifts under his weight. I cling weight knuckle to the saddle horn. Sand cascades down the embankment from under the camel's feet. "You want down? Then give backsheesh." We part with an American $10 bill. So that sort of grabs you onto what their adventures are going to be all about.